let's just say I was single tomorrow, I would have less pride in my texting style because ultimately, like, I get that there is an initial courting, which like is like a guy like wants to court a girl and it vice versa. However, if you're scared about like the grammar or the sentencing of your text and like how it's gonna read, like I have girlfriends that are like, can you look at this? Like, should I change like this word? Like whatever.
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant. If that's gonna scare someone off, like they are just so far from your person.
For you. Welcome to You're Allowed to Hate Your Husband, a modern day love story. I am Remy Stern. I'm a relationship coach, and we are going to talk all things relationships, from being single to dating to being engaged, married. Who you marry is the most important decision you will ever make.
If you're looking for a wife, which is a beautiful thing to do, the best thing to do is to choose wisely.
If you're thinking, what am I doing wrong? Everybody else has it right. Then you are in the right place, because trust me, nobody knows what they're doing. I'm so excited. Please hop right in, listen to this episode, listen to this series, and we are so excited that you are joining us here. Welcome back to You're Allowed to Hate Your Husband. Today's episode is so fun. We are joined by the amazing Charlotte Bickley, who tells us her whole story of how she met her boyfriend, who is incredible, and what dating was like for her, and just her journey of discovering herself and becoming her most authentic version of herself and just enjoying life so much. And when she got to that place and she shows you guys how she did that, she was able to attract the most amazing guy for her in the best life. And it's just such a fun episode. She is pure joy, pure happiness, and just everything that you guys want to hear, she tells you. And so hop right in. You guys are going to love this episode. We are so excited to have Charlotte Bickley here. Thank you so much for coming all the way from LA.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. I obviously haven't been on many podcasts, but it's super exciting. This is such like a different, and I think a lot of people are going to relate with like couple advice and stuff like that. And shout out to Dave Dinesh for connecting us.
Real quick, right at the beginning, he gets a shout
Get that out.
Wow.
Get that out of the way.
How much did he pay you for that?
Lots. Lunch today at San Ambrose.
There you go. Delicious. Love it. We can't toot his horn. Someone please say a crazy thing about David Dinesh before we move on.
Oh, too much.
Okay, just kidding, David. We promised we wouldn't. Anyways, we're so excited. You're going to have so much fun because podcasts are they not so much fun? I convinced Jonathan to do it somehow.
I love it.
Then we just have to
I am like so shocked at the convincing of your husband. Like, that's crazy.
I don't know.
I don't think I could ever convince Charlie. Not my husband, my boyfriend, but like,
I don't know.
It would never happen.
I think Jonathan got...
If we were still dating and she asked me to be on her podcast, I would tell her 0%.
Yeah, but married, yeah.
Like after 5 years of going on dates, if this truly makes her happy, which, because we're in a give-give relationship, happy to put a smile on her face.
But it's like super confident, like, which like a lot of guys like I think wouldn't be. So that's like a really good quality.
I think I trapped him into it. I think I learned like manipulation skills, because the biggest joke is the first episode he was wearing like these super short shorts, and he thought no one was going to see this. Like he thought this was like me being like, can you please? Meanwhile, thank God we have a really lovely following. So anyways, Jonathan's the best.
I must have received 10 to 20.
That's it?
Text messages saying, hey, short shorts, what are you thinking? I had no idea I was going to be on YouTube, honey.
I'm really done. I have to go back and see that one.
I wore my like Knicks jersey.
No, you don't understand. His mom still like can't look at him the same. Like it's so
I have to go back and watch that one.
Meanwhile,
later.
I'm not the most like attentive person. Like I don't notice these things. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if I were, I would be like, honey,
I'm bad with that too. I'm like
really?
so like not detail oriented.
I'm the least.
Yeah.
Something could be right in front of my face, could it not? And I'm like, what?
You pass by it for days.
Yeah, always.
By the way,
Are you detail oriented?
Very.
Yes, my boyfriend is very detail oriented, and he gets so mad at me because I'm like, woo, like.
Are you?
Just like literally.
Oh my God, is she me?
So Charlie and I are the same.
Totally.
If she moves and she gets in trouble for not opening up packages or dry cleaning, she'll just relocate it, thinking it's like, it's like in the assembly
I do
line.
that too.
Honey,
I
it's
let
a
them
dry
stack up.
cleaning bag. I've seen it in 5 different rooms now.
I have problems.
You're not fooling anyone.
I'm literally in red.
I have problems. I do that too. I like stack packages. I like hoard them, and I'm excited to get them.
Oh, see, I'm opposite. Like I've decided that I don't like packages. So he's very lucky because I'm not a big shopper.
Yeah.
It's more of an ordeal to have to unpack them.
Totally.
So I'm good. I have one package there that has to be returned. The worst then is returned.
Can I bet the over? I would love to bet the over. I'm lightening the over.
Wait, so okay, you're the messy one in the relationship.
No, I'm actually no.
Okay.
No.
Okay, tell me, because I'm extremely clean. Like I showered 12 times a day.
Okay.
Everything's clean, but I'm disorganized. I don't see the mess.
I'm like, I guess obviously you guys know this, but like this is my first boyfriend that I've like lived with, like actually signed a lease together. I've had boyfriends that coexisted in my space, but obviously living together is an adjustment and definitely like a tell into your relationship. Love my boyfriend so much, but there are just certain things that like
Obviously
I pick up, like the clothes on the floor, like not like messy, but it's just more like orderly.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So
what else drives you nuts about Charlie?
The clothes on the floor like drives me nuts, and I put them in the wash if they're on the floor, and that drives him nuts that
Oh my God.
I constantly do the wash because he's like, where are those pants I wanted to wear? And I'm like, they were on the floor.
wash.
I put them in the wash.
Actually a great move.
Do you own a laundry bin?
Yeah, we're in a house. So like we have
But he just like puts clothing
if
all
clothes
over
are on the floor, I've told him multiple times. I'm like, if they're on the floor, they're going to the wash. And like we have this discussion
Fair
every
warning.
time where like he's literally like, I wanted to wear those pants again. And I'm like,
Can I tell you something? Sorry to out my sister-in-law,
Yeah.
but my sister-in-law is like really smart with this stuff.
Yeah.
If she doesn't like something that her husband's doing, she doesn't even bother telling him. She doesn't bother. She does stuff like that drives him crazy. So eventually he stops doing it. So at one point he was like, oh, you do the laundry.
Yeah.
Like you're the wife. I guess that's whatever. You do the laundry. And she was like, great, I hate doing laundry. She took his favorite shirt. She put it in the dryer over and over until that thing shrunk like this. And he was like, you're never doing the laundry again.
I mean, Charlie says I'm really bad at the wash, but like I love doing it. So I don't know.
Bravo.
It's
Bravo.
Like,
So
It might not be you. It could be the washing machine or the dryer.
let's give it benefit of the doubt. That
I'm
it's
not
the
getting
wash.
fat. It's just all my clothes shrink 2
Yeah.
to 10%
No.
every quarter.
He thinks
Problem.
that
I'm really
he
dead.
thinks that every single thing shrinks. I'm like, no,
It like kind of does.
It does,
I think.
honey.
Yeah.
And even if it's just in the closet,
But some-
oxygen
yeah.
will shrink it.
one of a kind. Okay, so now that we know the ins and outs of your relationship, can you tell us about how you guys met, who you are? Like, I want a little background on you for anyone who doesn't know you, what you do, all the good stuff.
Okay, so I'm originally from Westchester, and I went to Syracuse University, and then I moved to the city. I love New York so much. Like, I really identify as a New Yorker, and I had like a few different relationships throughout my time in New York, and I was definitely single, all like very pivotal experiences into like who I am now. But I worked at Bergdorf's as an assistant buyer for a year out of college. I hated it. It was like a super fun like experience, but so not for me. A lot of girls like would kill, I guess, to have that job, and it was just not for me. And then it kind of like navigated into Instagram. I had an Instagram presence when I was in college. Like Instagram had just come out, and I loved to post my outfits from like tailgates at Syracuse. And so it kind of just naturally pivoted into, I went from Bergdorf's and started influencing full-time, or like content creation, whatever you want to call it. And I've had a really fun run with it. It's been super cool. I've gone super cool places. I've met really cool people. And I've loved it. I mean, obviously, in this industry, you open yourself up to like getting judgment from people that like you don't necessarily even want or need. So it's definitely been an experience, but I've loved it. I wouldn't change anything. I also write for this magazine, The Daily Front Row, which is really cool. So it's like a fashion lifestyle magazine, and that's been a really cool experience as well. And my boyfriend, Charlie, and I met actually 7 years ago. I had just broken up with a college boyfriend who was like my first love. I was really heartbroken after that, but it was like a good year, I want to say, after we broke up. And I went to London with my dad, And I like met up with two girls that like I kind of knew. Like one was this English girl that I met when I was abroad because I went to London abroad. And then one was a girl that's from New York. We all went to dinner. And then my friend from New York was like, come out after. And I met Charlie like at a club in London, like STK or something. And we had a night out. Fast forward 7 years, like we'd see each other like in and out, like in passing, but we reconnected at a friend's wedding in New York like 7 years later.
Adorable. Okay, then how did it go from you guys knowing each other to wedding to like dating, moving in?
Yeah. In the midst of like the 7 years that we knew each other, there was one time where I went to London and he like tried to take me out, but like I didn't answer the text. Sorry. Sorry to out.
Love it.
But I was like, honestly, like just like not in that place. And then we reconnected at this wedding. Nothing happened at the wedding, but then we ran into each other at a friend's birthday a month later in New York. It was like weird that he's English. So it was like he was in New York repeatedly. And I was going to London for a friend's wedding a month later. And we had fun at the second time we ran into each other. But then like I followed up with him. He was like really drunk and doesn't remember, but like I remember like talking about my plans to come to London, and I followed up with him and I was like, so as discussed, I'm coming to London. And my wedding was on a Thursday and he had a wedding in Portugal over the weekend. And he was like, I was like, I'm coming Thursday and then let's do something this weekend. He was like, I'm actually going to a wedding. Would you want to come with me? So our first date was a wedding in Portugal.
No.
Wow, that's bold.
Yeah. It was really
wait.
bold. Yeah.
So you guys had met 3 times.
Their first date
Yeah.
was in a wedding in Portugal that she joined.
Yeah, but we knew each other. Like we had known each other for years. I actually, through my ex-boyfriend in college, knew his cousin.
Okay.
So like I knew he was like a normal person that we had overlap with, but it was definitely ballsy and it was definitely like bold.
That's a lot of time to spend with someone.
No, yeah. I was like in a
you barely know.
Totally. I was in a YOLO phase. Like I was like nearing honestly like the end of like a 3-year single like kind of stunt. I was like feeling frustrated and like I was just feeling spontaneous, which I think is a really good thing for anyone feeling like in a dating rut. Just like do something different, do something like say yes to something you maybe wouldn't have. And like I did. By no means did I like go against like my character. Like I wasn't like not like slutty that weekend. Like I held to like my being, but like I thought it would be a fun experience.
So fun. So
it was really like honestly crazy.
Unreal, and can't wait for the wedding for there to be like so many speeches about that. Yeah. So cute. So there was a point that you were in a very long, seems like relationship, like college. Then there's the heartbreak.
Yeah.
Then there's the frustration, and then there's the spontaneity. Like,
well, there's actually a relationship in between. I dated a guy who was 34 when I was 24.
Okay, we're almost 15 years apart, so that's not so crazy.
Why do you keep rounding up?
You're
going to start saying that we're 20 years apart.
How many years apart are you?
13 and a half.
Okay,
14,
great.
14.
To be honest.
She's jumping into 15. Like we can.
Wait, how old are you now?
I'm 28.
Okay, I'm 29.
Okay.
And yeah, great.
42.
Great. So I actually, when I dated this guy, like I was not ready to be like married and in a serious thing. But
you're 21, 23.
I was 23.
Okay.
And he was 34.
Okay.
So we were 11 years apart. But it was an incredible experience. Like I definitely got a taste of like a serious adult relationship.
That's good.
Yeah, it was super great. And I met so many cool people. Like honestly, Dave, I met through my ex, and like I'm still really close with a lot of people, but like we were not like compatible. And there were like things I did that I look back on now, and I was just super immature about certain things.
I think we all have.
Yeah, aren't we all?
Totally.
It totally happens. So this was towards the end of you, and I'm asking these questions because I know that a lot of women out there and girls out there like get very frustrated, and I'll feel like date after date after year after year after all of this. And it's like, there's a point that I almost think that YOLO is the best thing. And I had it with him. Like there was a point that I was like, I'm good. Like I've done the dates. I'm just like doing myself and YOLO, and I'll like potentially say yes to opportunities. But I think that's when it's like you let go of the reins.
Totally.
So this relationship that happened, that was right at the end of like your frustration moment.
Well, we broke up in 2019, the 34-year-old. And then like I had till Charlie, like a full 3-year like solo Lone Ranger bender. It was great. I had like honestly crazy experiences that like I definitely will always remember.
Tell us
But-
some more about these crazy
like
experiences.
I just did things that like I wouldn't have done. Like I said yes to like random trips. Like even before the Charlie like Portugal thing, I was like I would go on like fun summer trips with girlfriends. We like crashed a wedding. Like we did stupid
That's
shit.
fun.
Yeah.
My friend, now that you mention it, Double D, he said that, you'd have a date on a Thursday, maybe Friday lunch, and then Saturday you'd be on an island somewhere.
Wait, who
Oh
said
my God.
that?
Oh my God, he's
Dinesh.
Yeah, I was like,
source.
I always like was on the go. Like honestly, hard to
And
pin
you're allowed
down.
to.
Yeah, no, totally.
I had
But-
dates Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So yours happens to be in the Bahamas,
Yeah.
the
Okay,
city.
I
yeah.
didn't. Why?
Okay.
What was wrong with me?
What?
I didn't.
You did.
Have date Thursday, Friday, and Saturday? No.
Why not?
I don't know. I didn't have that many situations.
Okay. To each their own.
There were times though, like when I wasn't dating anyone and it was like super lonely. Like the city can do that, but then there were like just like really fun dating experiences, but nothing serious in those like 2-3 years.
Nothing serious. 3 full years of nothing serious, but fun.
Like I guess there were fun situations. There were definitely guys that like I like regret, like not regret because I believe in everything happens for a reason and like Hashem has a plan. But
Love Hashem.
I think that there were like people that like I didn't take seriously that like maybe I should have. But you can't force something. You know what I mean?
It was the time of like maybe exploration of like learning about yourself, exploring the world. It seems like you were literally always on the go. It seems like you dated people and learned what you liked, what you didn't like. You got the crazy out. Like I always say, I look back at those times and in the moment, they sucked at times. They were fabulous at times. But like my crazy bitch side, like I would never press delete on them because now they're such funny stories.
Totally.
Like, if you're in the middle of it, it feels like crap. But looking back at it, you're like, that was so part of the story. And I would never take any of it back.
And I think 20s are like really hard because like a lot of girls like put their pressure on themselves that they need to do this, that, the other. Like my 20s at least were such amazing years that like I look back on and I think they were so important into like shape my dating experiences, et cetera, were so important into shaping like who I am and like what makes me ready for like a mature like next step relationship, quite frankly. So I think for any girls that like feel down on themselves, like 20s are the time to do that. And like age is really just a number. I know our society is so crazy, but
we all live and learn.
Yeah,
100%. So right before you met Charlie, was there anything you were doing different right then? That's like that spontaneity, that spontaneous time. Like what was that mindset shift that just got you in it? That I really believe once you change, it like attracts your person like this.
Well, I was really, really fed up. Like I was seeing like younger guys and like it was like fun. Younger.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I had that moment.
So you went the
And
11
how old
years
are you at
older.
this time?
I was like 27. So I was like
How much younger?
like 5 years.
Wow. I had a younger.
22?
I had one
Like
younger.
23, 20.
Just out of college.
Just like, yeah,
Let's hang out.
they were like fun young guys. Like, I don't know. I like had a thing with one guy that was like younger and he was fun. There was one guy that was like serious. Like, honestly, age is just a number. But I was just really.
You were exploring.
I was exploring the entire array of everything.
Exploring and enjoying. I like
Yeah. But there was one, I think that like, I'm not a big drinker. And I think there's a social pressure that you have to like, when you go out, you have to drink, you have to like be fun. Like that's associated with like being a good time. And I'm a horrible drinker. Like if you put a shot in me, I am like so not well. I'm not my best self. Like I am best sober. And I think I had like a lot of experiences where like I was getting drunk a lot and I wasn't feeling good about myself the next day. And I kind of just hit a point where I was like, you know what? I'm done being like not authentic to myself to try and attract someone. I'm just gonna like be me and like see what happens. And Charlie and me going to that wedding was super YOLO, which also coincided with like my new found energy. But I also said that like I'm gonna be done with the bullshit. Like I'm really just gonna I'm gonna date someone who likes me for me, and that's gonna be it. And there was something that happened really early on with Charlie and I. So we went to Portugal. We obviously we're like in a long distance thing, like, right? He lived in London, but he was moving to LA in July. So we went to this wedding in June.
Okay.
And we kind of like talked about maybe him coming to New York and visiting me in the Hamptons, like in 3 weeks post the wedding. In like coinciding with those 3 weeks, Charlie was also seeing another girl, which like he had every right to do, because like we weren't.
Charlie.
We had
Bad
the
boy,
same.
yeah.
We had the
so,
same.
well, listen, it was really crazy. So we had this experience where, he was seeing someone else. He came to visit me in the Hamptons, and he stayed with me on that Friday night. My parents weren't there. It wasn't like awkward, and like I love hosting people, so it was super fun. We had a really fun night. The next day, he like leaves my house and like we don't hear from him. And like me and all my girlfriends were like writing him off. We were like, ew, like he should have texted me on Saturday. That's so weird. Blah, 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 blah. Sunday, he was like done. Then on, I think it was like Monday, he re-followed up and was like, this weekend was so fun. Like, can I see you in the city before I go? So we had a date on Tuesday night. Okay. And had
Where did he take you?
we actually went to Zero Bond. Shout out to Zero Bond.
He
I
was
took
there last
I
him.
was there last night playing in the
He
poker
was-
tournament.
Wait.
I placed fourth
Out of 40.
out of let's
Can
say
you-
40 buy-ins.
Okay, so I sent that to Charlie the other day because he loves poker. How much is the buy-in? Can you say?
500.
Okay, so you have like an opportunity to win good money.
First place is 8,000. It depends on how many buy-ins there
Oh
are.
my God, Charlie was so jealous. I'm like, let's move back to New York for that poker tournament.
We can go whenever he gets to New York.
Yeah, okay, good. Zero Bond's the best. But anyways, I took him there because like London has so many fun members clubs. So I was like, come to one in New York. So we had a great night. Okay. In full transparency, we slept together. And this was like
Go.
multiple dates after, like it was after the wedding, whatever. The next day, I go to Bar Pity with girlfriends. Like I'm hungover
no.
from the night
Oh,
before.
no.
And I literally am the first to arrive and I'm on my phone and I walk into a table, hear a British accent, look up, and Charlie's on a date with this girl.
No.
That's unbelievable.
Okay,
Wait, I
not
have a
only
bad
is it
one, but that's
unbelievable,
worse. That's
Bar
worse.
Pity, is he okay? Like, why would you go there? That's like actually asking to be seen. So anyways, I was like super
That's
rude.
better than ours.
And one of my good girlfriends, I was like, go find out if they're on a date. 'Cause
Charlie, you dirty
Yeah.
dog, you. I
how
love
crazy.
it.
So my friend like goes over to him and she's like, oh my God, where did you and Charlotte end up last night? Like you guys left. And so like she let the girl know that
my
like
God. Oh my
we were.
The girl was probably.
Anyways, so then I was like really upset at dinner and he didn't even say goodbye to me. Like he came to the bathroom, he ignored me. And I was like, okay, this is just like another like fucking annoying situation. And so the next day he tried to act like nothing happened. And in past me, I'd be like, okay, I don't want him to think I'm crazy. Like we're not dating yet. Like I'd make all these excuses. And I honestly was like to him, do you want to address the elephant in the room? And he was like, gladly. And I was like,
Wait.
to be quite frank, like I get we're not exclusive, but like we've slept together and like I have a certain standard that I hold myself to. And like, I think we should just end this here because it's clear you're not serious. And he responded really well to that.
What'd he say? And this was over text.
Yes.
So you chose to do it over text. Okay, amazing.
And he then was like, you're totally right, but like, I really don't want to stop exploring this. And like, please let me take you. He was like, please let me take you for lunch. And I was like, my friends were all like, go hear him out, whatever. And I was like, lunch ain't gonna cut it. You need to like work harder than that. And
Lunch plus.
he ended up like picking me up and taking me to dinner. And he was like, listen, like I totally get that like you don't want to be in the same thing. And like, I don't really have interest in seeing that girl again. But like, I had this plan always since the beginning of summer to go see my friend in LA for a show, Leah Kate. She
Yes.
was having a concert, whatever.
Great musician.
Great musician. So Charlie was like, let's see like where we're at in August and we'll go from there. And I was like, okay with that. He like owned up. He really respected that like I kind of like held myself to a certain standard. The other girl, not to out her, but like didn't say anything, which is
Oh,
bizarre.
Was she hot? Just out of curiosity. The fans are asking.
She's a pretty girl.
Oh my
We're
God.
different, but
Okay, so it helped that she was.
I was definitely bothered because they went on a trip together right after the wedding. And I saw someone like
Portugal wedding.
after
The
the
wedding in
Yeah,
Portugal.
this was the summer of Charlie's life.
Weekend in the
Yeah.
Hamptons.
He had a really hot summer.
Was this a girl he was seeing, or
They
was this
had,
just
like-
like he was
they
just
had-
on
no, no,
fire
they-
and just accepting dates?
So he went on this group trip every year, and this girl was in a relationship past years, but I guess they had a vibe together, and she had just broken up with her boyfriend. So it was kind of like right place, right time. But
Wow.
Was
Okay,
he
so
like looking for a wife and he was just like,
No, I don't think so at all.
piling up the numbers here?
wow, so
No,
you really
but
swooped
like
him off your history.
yeah, I'm dead. So his friends joke that party that the second party that we ran into each other, they were like, you need to move to New York. Like every girl is like throwing
Down for
themselves at
you.
you. Like, what are you doing in London?
That is
I don't know.
hysterical.
It was a good summer. Charlie's great. So like I could see why someone else would be into him.
That's so, by the way,
That's
we
cute.
have a similar that is very cute. And I kind of feel the same way. Like,
Yeah.
I'd almost rather just like have like know that you're handsome and the girls would be into
Yeah.
him than like the opposite. But we have a similar situation where we were dating and it was getting more serious, more and
Yeah.
more serious. And it was like that 1 week that I was like, oh my God, this is really a thing. Like Jonathan and I are like, we're starting to date, you know, the many reasons. He sent me Shabbat food to my apartment and like
Yeah.
was so cute. And I'd met all of his cousins. It was just like that week. I think he invited me to his cousin's wedding. And then I go out on a Saturday day to a day party. And this girl definitely knew who I was, comes up to me and was like, are you seeing anyone? Blah, blah. It was the first time I was like, yeah, I'm actually seeing this guy. And she goes, oh my God, who? And I was like, you definitely don't know him. He's way older. She goes, who? And I was like, his name's Jonathan Stern. She goes, no way. I'm effing him too.
No.
She goes, and I
The
was
game still goes until the ref blows the whistle.
No,
you know the
I
rules,
know.
ladies.
It
You
was-
know the rules.
It was that moment.
Gotta
like,
know the rules. Oh
I
God.
can't imagine seeing it, like actually seeing it. And then I was like, oh, no way. Like, so I was over Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. He sent me food ship on Friday. Now it's Saturday. Like, that's it. Like, when did you have time to
Yeah.
also
Well,
F him?
in all seriousness.
Monday night. Monday night was his night.
In all
Every Monday.
seriousness, I was actively pursuing you and we were having a great time and we were getting to know each other. But you were playing some games. You weren't the best texter.
Which
we
is
weren't
like,
in an
yeah.
She
exclusive
ignored her
relationship
text.
yet. And I had to protect myself a little bit because you would sometimes invite me to places so nonchalantly that I was like,
Mhm.
listen, I know that she really digs me. But at the same time, okay, if this is my last hurrah or my two last hurrahs,
I think it's,
I don't know, 3,
yeah.
4, whatever.
No, I
You've got to protect yourself a little bit. You got to protect your heart. Charlie was on a date. He was very interested in you.
yeah.
But like until things are talked about.
Until you get caught and you have to like make a decision, like all's fine. I actually wouldn't have cared about Charlie if I didn't run into
See
him. Like
him. Oy.
he was fair. He was
Oh,
in the place.
so that helped a little bit.
It honestly did. And I do believe
Right.
everything happens for a reason. So that happened. But oh my God, that would drive me crazy. So how did you confront it?
So obviously, like it was,
I would
it was the
that's
best.
like every girl's worst nightmare.
But I don't know if you have any of this. I'm
we
so
were
sorry to
we were
admit
like
it.
supposed to have a sober date. We were gonna go to Rockefeller Center and go ice skating because
So
we
cute.
drank a lot. We partied, we danced, and I was like, let's just kind of have like a normal date, maybe. 2 minutes in, she gets a wine, so I'm thinking, oh gosh, well that is she an
I showed
alcoholic?
up-
I don't know what's
I
going
showed
on.
up a wine deep.
Oh
We
God.
continued
Okay.
the
This is
evening,
how I'm
and then the
telling it.
truth
Yes, it's
came
like-
out that this has occurred over the weekend to her, and she wanted to know where we stood. And I honestly told you, I was like, listen, I really, really like you, and I only really, really like you. But I wasn't exactly sure how you felt. So I've been actively pursuing you.
It was horrifying, but this is one of those things I look back at, like I said, and I would never press delete on this moment, no matter how miserable it was in the
Yeah.
moment. And this happens a lot where women come to me and they're like, "Oh my God, it sucks. He didn't text me after 48 hours. Like, I'm gonna go crazy. This is it. I'm not meeting anyone." And I'm like,
Yeah, no.
chill out. Like, it's okay. Like, the more you can relax into it. So this moment happened, and like I'm spinning, and I didn't like guys as much as I like Jonathan. You know, like
yeah.
some guys, blah, blah, blah. But like Jonathan, I was obsessed with. So this like ruined me. We now call her Monday night because literally I was never invited over Monday nights to Jonathan's
gosh.
She was
because
very attractive. Very
she's
nice
very
girl.
pretty. She's very pretty.
Okay.
So
Which probably helped the
so
situation,
Jonathan,
If
this
she had
is,
walked in on a 2 or a 3.
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Told
it's
her at a
always when
party,
the
like,
girl's pretty. We're all
oh,
like,
yes, she was hot, but good.
Yeah.
So we go on this date to go ice skating, and Jonathan's like, "Oh, like the most embarrassing thing happened on Friday. My dad, I said your name, and my dad went and friended you on Facebook, and like everyone's like, no, don't friend her. Like, what are you doing? Because it was like still in the beginning
Yeah.
stages, and I was like, no way, did he friend the girl's name too?
Yeah.
I was like, did your dad do that too? And he was like, how do you know her? And I was like, oh, well, I heard you guys are, doing your thing.
No, we were
And-
really dating.
Kind of. Anyways,
And then we just started to take it seriously after we had a nice conversation.
the long story short, it's kind of like this idea of
this is similar to Charlie and I.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And you can look back and you're like, oh, that all makes sense. But for someone who's in it, you can't look forward and be like, I see the dots connecting.
Yeah.
Only when you look back. So I tell women, like, they get very caught up in how it like should look like. And of course, there's times that's like, if he's not texting you back, Jonathan will be the first to say on this podcast, like, you don't want to convince anyone to like you. Of course not. But there are, it's messy, the beginning of dating. It's a dance, it's a push, it's a pull, it's a do something spontaneous and then run into him on a date. Like,
I think that like ultimately there's no rules to dating, and I can't stand some of the rules that people put out there. Like, people say you can't text a guy after dinner and say thank you. Like,
who says that?
But you have to do
Why
that.
wouldn't a girl
like,
say thank you?
That's like the first
that's like
opening the
a
door.
dating 101 on like certain podcasts about dating. And like, that's like unauthentic to my character. Like, I say thank you after someone takes me out for dinner.
Yeah. Did you say thank
You're
you to
very
Dave Dinesh when he just took you to Santa Rose?
I always do.
Good.
I'm always like so grateful. But that's a crazy story of you two. But do you agree that like in certain other situations you might not have been confronted, or do you think you always would? I was really early on. Like, we had only had Portugal and
but
Hamptons.
sleeping together, like,
but that was what made it a different thing for me. But I think like a younger me would have been like, I'm gonna look crazy. We're not dating.
There's either two sides. There's either the one who like goes crazy and it's like you can also relax, or there's the one who didn't say anything. And I probably tended to do the not saying anything.
I would just be like, okay, well, like, whatever, he's allowed to do what he wants, like, make excuses. But like, ultimately, I think it's attractive to hold yourself to a certain standard of what you think you deserve to be treated.
You should be true to yourself, 100%.
Totally.
And there's no reason to waste time, because if you didn't say anything and then he came back and wanted a date and then you like saw him, but maybe he wasn't interested in something serious, at that point now, it is an amount of wasting your time versus if you just like put it out there, you said, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Are you in or are you out?
Yeah.
You got your answer really quickly. And a lot of women, I find, and I did this, would drag things on so long, wondering if they were in, if they weren't, we got lucky in a sense that like something was thrown in our face to be like, no, you have to figure out if you're in or you're out. Like, this is the deciding factor.
But we were on the right path.
I think it's unfair. Like, guys, it's so funny. It's always like girls. Like, even today, like I assume that guys just like know how to text. Did you actually think she was like playing games?
I did not think that she was playing games, but I
couldn't
could
pin her
only speak
down
for myself. During the first 10 dates, like, I was only 100% confident about how I felt inside. And I had a very good picture of that she was with me on the same boat. However, sometimes I wouldn't be ecstatic with the invitation that I received or the text I got.
Oh my God, do you want to hear one?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I went on a ski trip and like, I'm just so not like this. Like, I can't even explain. And he was like, send me a cute picture of you in your bunny suit or something. Like,
I didn't say bunny suit.
Something like that. It was something like painful.
I'm still not like that either to like send a photo.
I'm sorry. Like, I was
No
just
photo
never
was
going to send it.
received.
No photo. But Jonathan like had all these other girls who were sending photos. So
yes,
I think that differentiates.
I was
intriguing.
Receiving photos.
So then Jonathan did something that was like, and this is what is like confusing about dating, because he did something called icing me. I thought he was ghosting me. So I was like, oh God, kind of like you had that 24, 48 hours where he didn't text you. And I was going to this wedding. I, again, did a fabulous job of moving the pieces behind the scenes. But he was icing me to pull back to see if I was going to like move forward. Yeah. And I did have a lot of pride where I was like, no, he's going to come after. Like, I'm not chasing. You chase me.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Going back, I probably would have had a little less pride in my dating. I'd probably be a little more straightforward, but whatever. I go to this wedding and I see one of Jonathan's best friends. And I was like, fabulous. I'm going to make his best friend fall in love with me. Like, he will love me by the end of the weekend and
Women
go home.
Are nuts.
And be like, this girl is epic. Then lo and behold.
Not like always. That's always a go-to in a girl's mind.
It worked like a charm.
It didn't work at all.
It did. We went to dinner when we got back at, what's it called?
No effect.
Indochine.
I iced you because I had to text you first. Every single
but
message.
We're told in society to not text
and she
first.
would only reply back, but she would never text me. She would never initiate a text message. So I called the president of my relationship board of directors, Keith Levy, and I said, we got to do something about this. She has the best time with me on dates. She's head over heels interested in me, but she never texts me first. He goes, you got to ice her. Totally ice her.
I'm sorry. I love Keith.
And
like,
wait
is this
48 hours.
Keith Levy? I love Keith.
Keith Levy. We'll find out how, if she's willing to text you first. Within 48 hours, then she starts writing me messages like, hey, what's going on?
No, I waited, but I was truly having panic.
Like, girls are so, honestly.
I said, okay, she's in.
That's also something I would do differently. Like, let's just say I was single tomorrow. I would have less pride in my texting style because ultimately, like, I get that there is an initial courting, which like is like a guy like wants to court a girl and it vice versa. However, if you're scared about like the grammar or the sentencing of your text
Oh my God.
and like how it's going to read. Like I have girlfriends that are like, can you look at this? Like, should I change like this word? Like whatever.
Irrelevant.
Like irrelevant. If that's going to scare someone off, like they are just so far from your person.
For you, 100.
And like
we used to
I
have
would
board
be like more
meetings.
ballsy. I mean, I had my opportunity with Charlie, which I definitely was more ballsy, but like if I were single again, I would be more ballsy.
100%. We literally would have board meetings and we'd sit around and like dissect hi, how are you? By the way, I like memorized.
I mean, I'm guilty of it. I'm not going to lie.
And this is all part of the process. It's all the fun and games of it.
So let's learn a little bit about you and Charlie.
Okay. Yeah.
So what?
I heard you guys had a call.
Yeah, I chatted with him.
Jonathan loves Charlie.
What did you love about Charlie that made you really fall for him?
So unapologetically himself. Like, honestly, like
It's Jonathan.
Really? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like, even like just anything. Like, you can tell Charlie something like, ew, that's cringe, or like you're embarrassing yourself. He won't care because it's just him. And I really like love his confidence.
Oh my God. Can I just pause for a second and tell a story about Jonathan?
Yes.
We were in Mad Happy store with a bunch of my friends. Like, okay, fine, do this in like a random store. I don't care. But like 700 people that like I love and are friends. All of a sudden, Jonathan gets a cup of water. I kid you not. He starts gurgling, like head up, like the loudest gurgle I've ever heard in front of everybody.
I had a dry throat.
I can't do it on here because it's going to sound so gross, but like hawking
and
up.
Everyone's like
literally stops.
This 17-year-old kid is trying to sell me a $350 sweatshirt, which is too short for me.
Okay, but still, like he's
Regardless,
so
I'm seriously contemplating purchasing it. I wanted to get the outfit. I'm thinking, and I just can't talk.
Yeah.
I can't talk. I had a dry throat, so I just started gargling.
Nobody's so unapologetic.
What's wrong with that?
He'll say what's on his mind.
Yeah, no, I love that. I honestly think that I like, I do that too. Like I like to think I'm like a bit, like I can read the room a little better, but Charlie just is himself. And I love that about him.
I love it about Jonathan, but I have to say it does drive me crazy.
It's a great outfit.
Oh my God. You like the Mad Happy.
Maybe not for me.
Mad Happy's epic.
Yes.
Anyone who hates on it has not worn one.
There you go. I was actually about to wear my Mad Happy shirt.
Unique.
Yeah.
Stitching. Love the stitching.
Totally.
He just feels bad that he gargled in their store. But no, Jonathan, I say like I read the room. Like I put on, not that I put a hat on to what room I'm in, but like I read the room.
You like read situations.
So be it. What can you do?
You'd rather me choke in Mad Happy store and seen in the newspaper.
Jonathan has one hat and he walks around with the same hat, and I love him for it. It drives me crazy sometimes, but like
you're either gonna like
which hat? I have 80 hats.
No, you're so one.
You're either
gonna get a
metaphor. Yeah.
Metaphor hat.
He has no. He has.
Of course, I have one hat.
You're either gonna like Jonathan or Charlie, or you're not.
Yes.
And like I respect that.
Yes, and I love it.
Tell us what else about beautiful Charlie that you love.
The English accent doesn't hurt him.
Okay.
Though it's like now I don't hear it as much, but like in the beginning I was like, oh my God. He's really, I think that like our social lives really complement each other. Like we've, I think, both brought like different people into the room, and like Charlie and I are both the type where like we don't have to babysit one another, which I love. Like I can bring him to an event and like he is off mingling and I'm literally don't have to worry about him, which I love because I'm a social girl and that's important. We like have a lot, we laugh a lot, which like is super important to me. I'm so personality like overlooks, even though he is a very cute guy, but I love like to be aligned like humor wise, and like we literally laugh all day long. And even if we like fight, which sometimes our fights are kind of like passionate, he'll like make one face and I'm like laughing. Like it's annoying. I can't stay mad at him.
I'm like,
this is wild. I spoke to Charlie. The same things that you love about him, he loves about you.
Really?
I've never seen that before.
Really?
Usually the girl and the guy have different reasons for falling in love.
Yeah. Is it actually the same?
He mentioned that your kindness
Oh.
was amazing. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I think it's important for girls to know what guys fall in love with.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So he fell in love with your kindness. And I think that's a beautiful trait and very important. You're always happy. And
for the most
you're
part,
like a happy team.
Yeah.
You hustle together, you win together. He was just so excited that you were part of his team and he was part of yours. It was very cute. You didn't play games. Your first date was in a wedding in Portugal. So you're bold.
Yeah.
And guys like that. Guys don't like playing games. Like if we wanted to play a game, we're playing Nintendo or Fortnite. Like with a relationship, we want things to be easy. We want things to be natural. And you were real. You were always real. And your sense of humor was great too. So these are the qualities that men actually find worthy of being heterophils in love.
Yeah.
Let's lock it up.
I think that there are some games that's very cute, Charlie. There are some games that like sometimes like I like definitely there were phases. I think if a guy like wants to play games, it's just not going to be a good long-term relationship. You want to be with someone who doesn't want to play games. And I tell my friends this now, like my girlfriends that are like, you know, older and like age is like daunting them and they're like frustrated in their dating life. I'm just like, date someone you're not going to play games with, be authentic. Everything that like I did when I like wanted someone to take me seriously.
I love it, but I think it starts with yourself because, for example, you said that he didn't text you for 48 hours. You saw him on a date. Like, these could be seen as games, but you just cut through the shit and you were like,
well, I was gonna write him off if he didn't. I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna reach out. Like
Makes sense.
Yeah, I was like, he didn't really text me. It is what it is.
you were
like,
either out or you were in. There's two options.
Yeah.
I'm going to confront him and say the elephant in the room, or I'm out. I'm good. Like, but there was no that like gray area. The gray area is where things really get messy.
Totally.
When you stay for too long in the gray area.
Totally.
So being bold, being confident. I love, by the way you described him reminds me of him. Like I always said, the type of person I want is someone I can walk into the room and see you later. And then we come
You're
back
totally
together.
That type.
So Jonathan, it works great for us because I had puppy dogs back in at points in my life. And like,
I attract someone that like, cause I'm a big personality. And like, if you don't like check me, I'm gonna like, I have the tendency to like walk all over people. And like, even like past boyfriends like have been like, they were like your accessory, like you were like whatever. I want someone that like is my equal, that I respect. And I totally respect Charlie.
So speaking of, who is the boss in your relationship? Like
goes both ways. I mean, he might say, I definitely am firm about some things. Like I have no time for like, I'm serious about like wanting a future with someone and like, I want to be taken seriously. So I have no room to like, you know, there are certain things that like Charlie's like dated girls, but he hasn't had like a really full-time girlfriend ever before. So there were some things that like I feel I had to just kind of point out. But like I'm also really like, I'm not scared of Charlie, but like if he like gets firm with me, like I will listen.
He said he's the boss in your relationship.
Yeah, I could see that, him saying that.
I'm joking. I'm totally joking.
Oh, what would you say? Who would you say?
He said 50-50, and that's part of the reason why.
Oh my God, you guys are the same.
It's such an amazing relationship.
Yeah, totally.
That is so cute. Yeah. What about us? Who's the boss? I just need to know what your answer is.
I think we're in a relationship where I give and you give. And that's what we focus on. So I don't think that there's any ownership in this LLC.
I mean, I think that's the best kind of relationship. And like also things that like, there obviously are like flaws to everyone. No one's perfect. And like Charlie's definitely checked me on like things that like past boyfriends maybe resented about me and like kind of harbored inside. And then it gets to a point where like it explodes and you resent that person.
Do you care? Like, do you mind giving an example of that?
I'm not like, I like things my way. So like, I don't like to like,
as you should.
Yeah, I do. And like, it's not like, and like to a fault because like I have to be like more go with the flow, but sometimes like things like I want just like in a box a certain way. And I think it's not like controlling, but just like I have tendencies to be like, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. And like, no one likes to be told what to do. And I think Charlie like checks me on like when I'm being unreasonable.
I think that's something everyone has to learn to a certain extent in a relationship because you go living your life just you and only you, and you could do whatever you want. And then you have to share half and half with a roommate life.
Charlie honestly said that the other day. Like we were like having like an argument about something, and he was like, okay, you've been single for 3 years. You haven't had to answer to anyone. We're in a relationship. We're in a partnership. So like you need to like not do that. And like I honestly respected that.
Yeah, it's very smart. And it's something that we all have to learn at a certain point.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate your love life?
I'm not going to say 10 because like I think that's unrealistic, but I would give it like a good 8 or 9. I think that the thing is that the one area, Charlie and I have fun when we go out. We like have party nights. We kind of have like checked that back because Charlie was like a London party boy. And like I think that like there's totally nights to do it, but like not every night. So LA is definitely conducive for that kind of lifestyle. We've had to make like new friends out in LA. So I think we've done like a good job of making new couple friends, etc. I've moved out to LA and like not all of my like best girlfriends are out there. So I would say that we do like a lot together where like we could maybe have some more independence in like our own lives, I guess, out in LA. But I would give it like an 8 or a 9. We're like, we always laugh together. We're super cuddly. I like to cuddle more than he does.
Cuddle?
Yeah.
Honey, when was the last time we cuddled?
I know. Shoot. We get
okay, I'm gonna cuddle till the day I die. Like Charlie gets mad at me, but I'm like, we make this joke. I'm like, I'm gonna come into the nook.
We gotta cuddle more, honey.
I know, we really do. He sits on this side of the couch. I
care
sit on
more
that
about
side.
cuddling than like
that's more like
but we love each
that's
other.
for back reason purposes.
I
But with
know.
that said, is it true that your love life is so good? Charlie told me you broke his back. Is that
What
true?
does that mean?
It's
I don't know.
not true.
What the heck does this mean?
I don't know how Charlie broke his back.
Oh, that's why he's not here.
Oh, is that the story we're going with?
That's the story we're going with.
Okay.
The PG story. He like is having a herniated disc moment.
Wait, is this like from
Charlie's
what I
joke
think
about
it
love
is?
life is Jewish girls don't have sex you don't have sex after marriage. Like it's like something
you
like
Jewish?
that. I converted,
Oh,
which I know
recently or no?
Well, I actually converted prior to meeting Charlie. I've always been connected to Judaism. And
cool.
like even in like the Torah, when a convert like converts, they say that you were Jewish in a past life and it's like a Jewish soul. And like I literally think that is just so true. I didn't grow up religious. So my family's not like, we don't like practice anything. We would do like Christmas as gifts, but not like in a religious capacity. And when I got to Syracuse, like everyone's first question to one another. So I grew up in Westchester. My school had like some Jewish people, but it wasn't predominantly Jewish. And when I got to Syracuse, everyone's first question to one another was, what camp did you go to? And like literally in front of my eyes, like geography, like everyone knew each other from some way or somehow. And I was just fascinated with it. Literally all my boyfriends have been Jewish, and none of my past boyfriends have been like super religious, I would say. But after my second breakup, it was in COVID. And I just always wanted to like uphold Jewish traditions, even like when not in a relationship. And I would always go to Passovers and, Jewish holidays, even without a boyfriend, like friends would invite me. And my mom was just like, in COVID, why don't you just convert? Like you really are passionate.
Wow.
Yeah. And like, you love it. And like, if it makes you happy, like do it. And so I thought about it. I think there was a point in time where I was like, people are going to think I'm weird. I'm like not dating someone, but then like a chord hit. So I did a conversion. It was an incredible experience.
Wow.
I did it through Park Ave Synagogue in up on the Upper East Side. Shout out to Rabbi Zuckerman. I love you.
So cool.
And it was a really, really amazing experience. And like, I knew I'd always like end up, I think, with a Jewish guy just because I like love everything about it. But even if I didn't, like I'd want to raise my children Jewish nonetheless. And I think that it's really nice that I didn't do it for someone, because I see other girls that like I know that are, maybe converting for like a husband or like a fiance. And like, I just didn't have to answer to anyone. But that's honestly being authentic to myself, because I don't like to answer to
I'm
people.
getting such a like theme in your life that the more authentic you were to yourself, the more things worked
I'm just
out.
like,
what was it? Because I have a similar story where I did Christmas and Easter growing up, and my mom's Jewish, my dad's not.
Yeah.
He's actually Mormon, fun fact.
Oh, wow.
But not really, like he is, but he's not.
Yeah.
And I found Judaism.
I'm really fascinated by, is it Mormonism?
Yeah, maybe.
It's like a really interesting
I know, my
religion.
grandma's like all types of Mormon.
They're very loving family.
So cute.
I feel they have similar values, right?
My grandma loves
They're
Jews.
identical.
Yeah.
It's all family, love, enjoyment of life, laughing,
The dinners, the whole thing.
taking care of
But
one another.
I found
Her
Judaism.
family is like
They're so cute. I found Judaism
Amazing.
in
Perfect.
college, and it was the first Jewish geography thing. I met this girl, and she was like, oh my God, like you guys are Jewish. And she said this to my roommate, and she's like, come over for Shabbat. And I was like, and she was older in an apartment. I was like, how cool. Like I'm at college. I don't know anyone at BU. And like, this random girl just invited us to Shabbat dinner because like we're Jewish. Like that's really cool. And then Shabbat was probably my first thing that I loved about Judaism.
I love Shabbat.
Shabbat was like my biggest. And then I went from there. But what was like the main thing that made you want to raise your kids Jewish? Like, is there one thing that caught your eye?
I think that my family definitely aligns with like family values. So though we're not like identifying as like a particular religion, like I had dinner like once a week with my family. I'm super close to my family, and that's like really important to me. I do love Shabbat. I think it's like a really nice tradition to like, you know, just kind of take a pause on everything and like be with family on like one day of the week. And just like ultimately, like, I think that Jewish people's like sense of community, like, I think it's the only religion where you could like go to like, let's say Portugal and you meet another Jew and you just feel connected with that person. Like it's super special. And also just in a time where there's so much hatred and everything towards the Jews, in my experience, I went to Jewish holidays even without a boyfriend. Like I have never been anyone has always opened their home to me for a holiday. And like, I've always felt such a sense of warmth and like accepting. So I have never felt that. And, you know, I think I converted kind of at a time where like anti-Semitism was like rising. And I just never understood.
Good for you. That is so cool. By the way, when you get engaged, and for everyone listening, one of my favorite things and another reason, so I found Judaism also when my parents were starting to get divorced.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, and everyone in LA that I knew was all the parents were getting divorced. So I was like, well, this is a complete shit show. Like this is
Are you from LA?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I was like, this is just a mess. And this Rabbi Lokech, I'll give you a shout out because I love you too, came to me and was like, and I was like, Rabbi, like how are you supposed to stay married to one human being for 80 years, let's say, let's put it, you know, as long as humanly possible, God willing. So how are you supposed to stay married to someone? He taught me something that has changed my life. And I recently went, it's mikvah, and I highly recommend it when you get married. And I
had a mikvah when I converted.
Oh yeah, you did. You don't like it? No,
like
it's the best thing in the world. You can't say that. It's the best thing because
I'm just saying
it's the best.
There is a thought. It's not
Why do you not like it?
I don't like it because out of 4 weeks, you have 1 week where she's off limits for feminine reasoning. Yeah. And then 2 weeks she's off limits for the mikvah. You're giving me 1 week and a nanny, a baby. We go to my parents' house. I got 3 hours a month. It's crazy.
But
wouldn't that be on like that's like observing, like being like?
So I do it.
Oh, you do it.
I do it.
Okay, wow.
And I love it. The fact that my husband is like upset that he can't sleep with me is much better than him like wanting to go on this like getting me whenever he wants and like being down for a girl on the streets. Like,
I'd rather option 2.
No, I'd rather my husband. Like it's like if you have a shirt that you can wear every single day, how much do you like that shirt? Like it's not that exciting.
Totally.
But
keep it like fun and interesting.
If you can't have the shirt and you really want it, but you can't
honey,
have
what happens if I'm freezing outside 29 days out of the month and then one day you give me a shirt? Give me a shirt a couple more days a month, honey.
Can you break it? There's like
I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect.
I feel bad.
I'm not perfect, but the day of going to mikvah is like my spa day. It's so fun.
Where do you go on the Upper East Side?
Avenue. It's so I was just
to that like bougie one.
Fifth Ave. It's great. Highly recommend.
I've heard about this one.
They're all beautiful. This one happens to be really stunning, but it just puts structure to a relationship. Whereas like nobody teaches you how to date. Nobody teaches you how to be in a marriage. And these are really important things. You're choosing a partner for life and you're staying with them for life. And I love that I'm seeing the theme is that the more authentic you were to yourself, even doing things that you like, where like people might judge me for this, but I don't give a shit. Like I'm converting for myself, which is so cool. I'm going to go on this trip with this guy. I'm going to call this guy out when he's being a shit. Like the more authentic you were with yourself, the more things worked out. Would you say that was the case in your life?
Absolutely. And I think that that's how people should follow suit. Like I think that's like a good life lesson. Just like be yourself because you only got one life.
And be happy.
Yeah, be happy in being authentic and all the things.
I love it. So if you were to go to your younger self and be like, hey, yo, here's my advice to you. Like I'm showing you it all works out. You know, you've got this amazing career. So many people like want to do something that they love every single day and thank God we get to, and it seems like you do too. And they want a relationship and they want all of this. Like, could you go back to your younger self and be like, it all works out and this is what I'm going to tell you in this moment?
Yeah, I think I put like there were times I was always like a serious girl and I wanted people to take me seriously. But like the truth of the matter is like even if like I like do this comparison where like dating's like designer handbags. Like there might be a Chanel bag that like I love, and you might not like it. You might not like another one, but we like Chanel. Like, it's not like a personal thing sometimes. And I think like ego gets in the way of a lot of things. And I would just be like, relax a little, have fun, and like, don't take yourself so seriously.
I love it. And
That's a good analogy.
I think
Right?
It's one
Love
of
it.
it's great.
Sometimes you have money, but you don't have money for the Birkin.
Yeah.
But then later in life, you do.
Yeah,
Timing
totally.
is important as well.
Yeah,
Also-
timing is important. That's a good way to add on
timing's
to
very
it. Yeah. If something didn't work out, I really was like hard on myself.
Yes.
And it gave me like, it was like hard to bounce back sometimes. Like, I don't know. Just things like
100%.
that. Yeah.
Like,
And I
it's
think
okay.
every girl or guy, we're like literally like, only girls have feelings.
I know. No, by the way, I realize we never talk. I mean, I work with women, so like
Yeah.
I talk to girls all day
I would
long.
love to-
Guys still learn a lot.
I
from
would
you,
love
so
to
don't
hear
worry.
like a guy like just talk about their experience with girls. Cause like,
Wait, by the way, we need to get this on. I think
yeah, you
that's
need a
David
guy.
Dinesh.
You need a guy that
David
like
Dinesh.
can just tell you about his like texting experiences. Because like, I'm sure there's been situations where like I think I'm being perfectly fine, including you, whatever, and then like the guy's like,
This
what
is
the
a story.
fuck?
This is a
Like,
story.
is
Like,
she playing me?
Mind you, I've
We
gone
can
back.
get a Ask the Guy, me and Charlie Bird over there.
Yeah.
Have a night,
Charlie Bird. That's my friend.
order a pie of pizza,
Yeah.
open up a bottle of wine, and you could ask the guy anything your heart desires.
Yeah.
Wait, I
totally.
think that's amazing. So the other thing is like when you take yourself seriously enough to be like, if I'm sleeping with you, it's going to be something. And then if the guy walks away, it doesn't mean that something's wrong with you. It's the same analogy as the purse.
Yeah.
If the guy isn't ready to buy a Chanel, like
Yeah.
you said, like let him leave. Let him go to, Gap or H&M or let him go there. But it has nothing to do with your worth. Like your worth
Totally.
stays up here no matter what.
Same thing for you. You were having your fun while
Yeah.
you were still exploring life. So sometimes you would connect with a guy, but you were really just having fun also.
Yeah. Totally.
So
I definitely, it was like, it worked
of life.
both ways.
Best date that you ever went on.
Someone took me courtside to a Nets game. And
first row,
literally behind the thing. And he was friends with one of the players. And then he took me to the
That's
Carvo
fun.
and Club after. It was like such a fun night. It was
That's-
so random. Also, we never had met each other before. And like we literally Ubered there together. And it was just like, it was super like ballsy. And like I thought it was fun.
Charlie's going to take you to a Knick game.
Nah,
That's better than Nets.
Charlie jokes his favorite team is the Clippers because they're cheaper than the Lakers.
Oh my
my
God.
boyfriend's not splurging on anything.
Is that Nets versus Knicks too? Because I'm LA. I get the
The
Clippers,
Clippers
versus the
and the
Lakers.
Lakers play in the same arena.
They're like the same vibe, but
I
like
know.
the
the
Lakers
I
are
know.
significantly more
the
expensive.
Birkin bags, and
Yeah.
the Clippers are like the
Aw.
J. Crew. Watch.
Yeah,
That's
my
so
boyfriend
cute.
loves a deal. So,
Oh, they're best friends.
Yeah.
Worst date that you ever went on?
Oh my God, there was a really bad date that this guy, I told this on another dating podcast that I once went on, and like I got in trouble, but I'm sorry, it was the worst date. He was obsessed with Michigan. He was like 5 years graduated, and he was like literally talking about his like reunion. He was going back. And I was working at Bergdorf's at the time. My friend was like, please go on this date because she was seeing his friend. And she was like, if you go on the date with him, then like we can all do stuff together and it's more inclined to like whatever. So I go on this date. It was 10 p.m. And I just didn't have the mental space to even like talk to someone or whatever. So I go to the bathroom and I'm like to my friend, call me twice and I'll answer on the second
It
time.
was like out of a movie.
And I was like, I'm going to pretend that like something's happened. And basically that happened. And I was like, I should take this on the second call. And I go back and I was like, oh my God, my roommate, I had a roommate at the time. And I was like, she's really drunk and she can't get into our apartment. Like I have to go help her. And he like didn't take that well. He was like, you have to leave. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, well, can't the doorman help her? And I was like, no, must be me. And
What was
like,
so bad about him to begin
just
with?
like,
Not for
I
you.
was like, it was not for me. I like knew really soon into the date and I was like tired. I wanted to go to bed. I didn't want to drink. I didn't want to force it.
Just
like
not a
I was
fun
just
date.
like, bye.
You know the
and I
irony? So my best.
And he still texted me after.
Interesting.
I think you're allowed to just get up, not in the middle of a date, but like I think after 45 minutes, I think you have the right to just get up.
He was like offended by it. And like I like I'm not a people pleaser, but like I like sometimes I'm like, oh, I'll like you stay. But I was just like, no.
So I know you gave your younger self advice, but I
Yeah.
also want you just to like think about other women. Like if you were to say, I've gotten to this place in my life, like
Mhm.
what is your biggest advice to all of the amazing
Say
people out
yes to any setup, date, whatever. I have girlfriends that I like set up with them and they're like, buy a photo. No, he's not my type. And I'm like, how
No.
do you know?
Your friends sound like that?
One. Shout out. You know who you are.
By the way, I have a guy that does the same voice. Maybe we'll put them two together.
Okay, she wants to set up, so let's get them together.
Done.
We have some maniacs.
No, but like, I was always so happy when someone thought of me for a setup. I would maybe ask, like, what does he look like? But I would never not go. At the worst, it's a friend that like I will just like meet in passing. You never know what someone's gonna like give to your life. But like at the best, you have the most amazing time and you just cannot go off of photos. Like, I'm sorry.
100%.
And if someone judged me off a photo, like, no. I mean, like, they might.
Lesson to be learned. Be learned.
And so say yes, but like if 45 minutes in, you're just not feeling it, have a friend call you twice and leave after 45 minutes.
That's a good dating.
Yeah,
hack.
exactly. Like if you're over
How to
it,
exit a date quick.
yeah, friend calling twice. Amazing. Charlotte, thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys are the cutest.
Where can everybody
Marriage
find?
goals.
Thank you. We like each other, even though we don't cuddle nearly enough.
Gotta cuddle more.
Tonight by
Gotta cuddle
Call
more.
Charlie about cuddling. I
But she
force
puts
myself
on
in.
now that we're married, she puts on lotion and like pools of
Do
it.
you wear lotion on
and
your
I'm
face?
allergic to it. It's like I'm not cuddling a lotion factory.
Do you
I
like
am,
take
like-
care of your skin?
I am like literally the least cute when I go to sleep. Like Charlie calls me a troll doll.
The green mask, the green mask
Yeah.
on.
Do you
Not
have-
cuddling on that.
Do you have
night.
a skin routine? Because you've got great skin.
Thank you. You do too. I like love skincare, but like honestly, I like
skincare.
I
Yeah,
love.
He like
I
yells at me for putting literally.
Yeah, no,
lotion
I
on.
like the skincare stuff, but I literally just intrude. I call it Charlie's nook. Is like this area. I'm coming into the nook.
Oh my god, that's so cute.
Very cute.
Yeah.
I want the nook.
You get the nook tonight.
Yeah.
I'll give you the nook.
So where can everyone find all of your amazing stuff, your outfits, your writing, all of the things?
You can find me at CH Bickley on Instagram. Bickley's Bickley, and then I write for the Daily Front Row. So like I do Q&As, and that's at Daily Front Row.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys are cute.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. We hope you liked it as much as we did. Now go send it to someone who needs to hear it, because we know that dating, relationships, marriage can be tough, but we want to make it less tough. And remember, you're allowed to hate your husband. Whatever you're feeling is allowed. So go send it to a friend, to your sister, your brother, maybe your boyfriend, a husband, whoever needs to hear this, send it to them. And while you're at it, click the follow button, click the review button. Always feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and we're so excited to see you in our next episode.